Right, well, here we are. We're going to start with two common programs that people like to begin with. The first one is Hello World, and the second is FizzBuzz. Now we're going to do a very basic version of FizzBuzz in this video, and then we'll flesh it out a little bit and show how to do test-driven development for FizzBuzz in our next video. But we'll begin with doing our Hello World program. Now, I recommend that you have some sort of a bash shell on your computer. If you have a Linux computer or a Mac, your shell or your terminal is already a bash shell. Now, if you have a Windows machine, you can get something called Git Bash, and that also makes it easier to learn Git, which tends to help with other things. So right now I'm here at my home directory, which is my user directory here on my Mac. When I got my computer, I called it Nooblord 007, whatever, that's the name of my user. So what I want to do is make a directory for the stuff we're going to do. So I'll make directory coding videos, no, coding or video code. So I'm going to code and make videos about it. So I make the directory, and then we can change into the directory and make our directory for Hello World. And we can list it, and we can see that it's completely blank. So now that leaves us in a good spot to open up our Eclipse Ide, which you should have already installed. There's plenty of videos on how to do that elsewhere on the internet, so I'm not going to rehash that issue. And we will make a new Java project. We're not going to use the default location. We're going to find where we were doing things. We have our it's in our video code folder, and it's going to be our Hello World folder, so that's where we're going to put it. And we're going to use our default Java runtime environment, make a Hello World program, and this is going to be Java 8. You can do the same thing with Java 11 if you want, and it's not really going to change, especially with these basic programs like Hello World. So we finish it, and when we open our Hello World program, we will find that there's a Java runtime environment system library, which we don't care about right now, and we will find an empty folder with sources, so we can make a new class. Now, the way I did that was just right-clicking, clicking on new, or hovering over new and clicking on class. And I think that we want it to have a public static void main method. A main method is what actually runs when you run a program. So in order to run a program, you actually have to have a main method. And we will call our program hello, or our class Hello World. So that generated a comment here. It generated a comment, which is a piece of code that doesn't run. So I hit the play button, and nothing actually happens. Nothing actually happens because that comment doesn't do anything. Now, the main method passes what is called a string array. We're going to talk about arrays, and the string array is called args. But right now we don't care about what a string array is or how you name it after declaring it here. All that we care is that this main method is what actually runs the program. So you have to start putting code into the method, and then you can watch it run. One of the first things that we learn is system.out.print hello world. Okay, so we printed our hello world just like this. Hello world shows up, and if we go and we decide to system system.out.print something else, then what happens is it will immediately, it doesn't work. Why? Because I didn't put a semicolon here at the end of our statement. So I put a semicolon here at the end of the statement, play it, and what we see is immediately hello world followed by something else. Now, if I wanted to make it have a new line, what I would do is I would put \n, and now it goes and prints hello world something else. Another way of doing this is, instead of printing the new line character, we can do system.out.println, println. And that automatically appends a new line character to what it is that we are doing, hello world, and then something else. One more little detail that we can cover here is that these are string literals that we've printed out. Literals means literally we print out what is here. We are not printing something other than what is here. We are printing, and we'll just go and do print lines so that we have everything. This is a string literal, because it is. So, now that we've done this, we can print out a variable as well. So we can go and here declare a variable of type string. We can say string message equals this is our message, right? And then we end that with a semicolon. And we can do this, system.out.println message. And we'll comment this out so you can see more clearly that I did Control/ to comment that out. This is our message. Okay. Now what we can do is we can also change the message. We don't declare it again if we do this. We're just declaring the message again. See, and if you hover over it, it says duplicate local variable message. Well, if you don't want to duplicate it, what you do is you just assign something else to it. So we print that. We get this is our message. We change our message. Okay. And if we decide to print it out, oops, there we go. We print out another line message. Then what we get is this is our message, and this is another message. Okay. So this is not a literal. This is a variable. It can vary. I can go and turn it into something else by assigning something else to it. You can do all sorts of different things, like if you go message equals message dot to upper case. Okay, so what happens then if we print it out? System.out.println message. And if we print that one, we're going to get an uppercase version of our message. And we could do the same with to lower. There's a whole lot of other things that you can do. if you look, there's a whole lot that we can learn about the string class. You can look those up, and I'll teach you how to look those up in a later video. In the meantime, it seems we've exhausted Hello World. We'll probably just want to say something like string message equals hello world, just so that we have. And then we print hello world. Now, what we'll want to do is begin with our FizzBuzz app. This is going to be the more basic version. Next time we're going to talk about how to do a test-driven app. So in the meantime, we'll just go close. We'll just close our Hello World project. It's nice that we had it. And we will make a new Java project. And we're going to call it, we'll first pick a different place. We're not going to make it Hello World. We're going to make we'll make a new folder here. We're in the Hello World thing, so we'll change directory to the previous one by typing in cd ... list it out with ls. Okay, we have Hello World. So we'll make a directory. What are we going to make it? FizzBuzz, not TDD. So not test driven. So now that we've made our directory, we can go and say, okay, FizzBuzz not TDD is going to be the directory that we are using. And it already named our project FizzBuzz not TD, but we can go yeah, that's actually good. And so we can go into our source folder, right click and add a class. We're just going to have a public static void main method, and we're going to call our class FizzBuzz. Alright, and thanks to my wife who made me some coffee. It's very kind of her. So we'll find that we have our class FizzBuzz, and it has our public static void main method, just like our public static void main method of our hello world program. So we'll get rid of our auto-generated method stub and then actually get to work on what it is that we actually want our program to do. So if we look at our checklist here, we want first to ask our user to input a number. Okay, so the best thing to do then is to begin by just saying system.out.println, please input a number. Now that's if you want to ask them nicely. So we run that, and it says please input a number. Okay, so we've done step number 1. Now we have to print the number. So how do we do that? Well, we can go and inside our method, we can make ourselves a scanner. Console input equals new scanner of system.in. And so we mouse over the scanner, and we can see that we can import the Java util scanner. So that's what we're going to do. So it will allow us to have our scanner. And we imported one instance, a new instance of a scanner. We have one new scanner, and we called it console input. So now we can use it and say that console input equals, or I'm sorry, we can say something like integer. We can call it number, I guess, for now, equals console input.next int. Okay, so what's next int? It means the next integer that we put into the console. So the next thing that we put into the console is going to be an integer form, and then we can go and print our number. So step 1, ask please input a number, get the number, and print the number. So now we're going to go and see what happens when we do that. It says please input a number. We click into the console, so we'll print input 1, and it prints 1. Very nice. We'll try again. Please input a number. We'll ask for 167, and then it will print 167. Now, if we decide to print something like 86.25, what happens? What happens? It doesn't let us do that. 86.25. It says exception in thread main. So what's the problem? What's the problem? The problem is we declared it of type integer, and integers are not decimals. We can have a float, for example, or a double, and those would have decimals, but an integer expects to have a whole number, so you can't do that. And you can actually then specify, more specifically, please input an integer. So we run our program again. Please input an integer, 6. And so far this program works if you put in integers. So we'll call this step done. There are ways of breaking the program, but we're not going to talk about that quite yet. Now we want to put a condition on it. If the number is divisible by 3, we want to print fizz. We don't want to print the number, we want to print fizz. So we've gone and gotten our input, and now what we do is give ourselves a little bit of room to think. Okay. So if our input, number, if our number is divisible by 3, it's evenly divisible by 3. So this is the modulus operator. Now many of you will not have encountered the modulus operator. If you have, then I'm sorry. This will be review for you. But the modulus operator basically returns the remainder when you do a division problem. So let's say you divide 3 into 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. The remainder is 0. So we'll just comment this out and put it somewhere out of sight, out of mind to begin with, okay? And we can just try. We're going to print some things. We're going to print some arithmetic expressions. So we're going to print 3 mod 3. Okay. Okay. So we can do 3 mod 3, 4 mod 3, 5 mod 3, 6 mod 3, 7 mod 3, and 8 mod 3. Okay. And we'll get 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. So from this we can expect, if we start out, let's just say, if we start out with 1 mod 3 and go all the way up to 9 mod 3, we can see the pattern 1 2 0 1 2 0 1 2 0. So we can see that it is 0 when the number is divisible by 3. So that's a nice, easy little way to check and do what we wanted to do. Now, I'll back up here, get rid of our comments. I can do that by hitting Control or Command slash. So if our number is divisible by 3, then what we're going to do is print fizz. Okay. Else, so it means in the condition that it's not divisible by 3, we just print the number. Okay. Now I get rid of that stuff because we don't need it anymore. We've already dealt with both of our cases, divisible by 3 and not. So if we save and run, and we input 3, we get fizz. Run the program again, input 1, we get 1. Let's try something else divisible by 3. Let's try 27, which is 9 times 3. We get fizz. Try 26, which is not divisible by 3. We get 26. So we've done point number 3. If divisible by 3, instead print fizz. Now we have to go and do if divisible by 5, print buzz. Okay, so we'll do that. If number mod 5 is equal to 0, we're going to print buzz. All right, so first we assess whether it's divisible by 5. Then we assess whether it's divisible by 3 if it's not divisible by 5. And if it's neither of those, then we just print out the number. So we save. Now we execute. Please input an integer. Okay. We'll try 5. Okay, it says buzz 5. Oopsies. What happened? Oh, we did not have an else. So that means it went and evaluated both of these ifs. It's nice. So it meant that so what it did is it evaluated if number mod 5 is 0, print buzz, which it did. And then it evaluated if numbers mod 3 is equal to 0, print fizz, which it wasn't, so it didn't print fizz. But then it went straight to this else and did it, so that we had to go and nest it. Or not nest it, but we had to go and make a series of it. We made a series of if then else statements like this. But now we run into this problem. Let's try it again. Where we input 5, okay, it says buzz. We input 10, it'll say buzz. Okay. We'll input 8, which is not divisible by either, and it should give us 8. But now if we input 15, it should say FizzBuzz, right? But it says buzz. If divisible by both 3 and 5, we should print FizzBuzz. Well, that doesn't work. So what do we have to do? Well, we have to go and do a little bit of logic here. So if number mod 3 equals 0 and number mod 5 equals 0, then we will print FizzBuzz. All right, and then we can do else. if. Now we can evaluate all these things. So now we've basically gone and made ourselves a nice single-use FizzBuzz program. We can test it by typing in 15 FizzBuzz. Okay, 30 should give us FizzBuzz. 30 should give us FizzBuzz. I restarted it. 29 should give us 29, right? Not 20. I can't even type, but 20 divided by 5. Yeah. So we get buzz. I wanted 29, though, not a 20. Should give us 29. So now we have at least what is, to me, looking like a pretty functional FizzBuzz program. So that's FizzBuzz version 1. And we definitely didn't use test-driven development, and we didn't make it as nice as we could, but we got through everything that we needed to be able to say that we wrote a FizzBuzz program. So next time we're going to go and do FizzBuzz in a TDD, test-driven development sort of way. So until next time.